Utah's fight for fair maps continues. Today's fresh hill is another map date. Round 10,000, I think, at this point. Never knew how fun court filings could be until we read them all the time, and sometimes these lawyers get a little spicy. So, on late Friday, the plaintiffs put in a new filing, pushing back on the referendums and the maps and all the different things that the legislature has been up to over the last couple of weeks. We love a court document. First and foremost, the plaintiffs are essentially accusing the legislature of using unlawful election data in their map drawing process. Plaintiff's expert witness, who is a professor at the University of Michigan, ran 10,000 neutral map simulations. And of those 10,000 simulations, only 6 of them gave the GOP all 4 congressional districts. Out of 10,000, 6. And according to this expert, the likelihood of them coming up with Map C, which gave all 4 congressional districts to the Republicans without the use of partisan data, is almost impossible. Their other accusation is that the legislature intentionally cracked Salt Lake County down the middle, which gave the Republicans the best possible advantage in splitting Salt Lake County when it more logically makes sense to split it this way. North-south directions.
The legislature gets to respond in these court documents. They said that the plaintiffs' maps were extreme partisan outliers, even though one of the plaintiffs' maps was essentially their map just fixed to be not a gerrymander. Extreme partisan outliers, yes. And then they continued to argue that they used recognized statistical tests to draw these maps, just the guidelines that they decided were the right ones. Those recognized statistical tests were passed by SB 1011, aka Brammer's bill. Spencer Cox signed this bill minutes before they passed Map C. So that law tells the judge that she should use these 3 partisan bias tests that mandate the partisan favoritism in order to guarantee them all 4 districts. Again, they are just trying to tell the judge that they passed the rules, that these maps pass those rules, that now the judge needs to rubber stamp that test to pass this map, that they're also repealing with a referendum. So, the judge needs to pick a map by November 10th.
The Utah Republican Party and several members of the political elite on the GOP side are trying to run 2 different propositions, essentially. The first one is a referendum to block Map C. This will require the GOP to collect 140,000 signatures in 15 out of the 29 Senate districts, or 8% of the state population. And the second is an indirect initiative to the legislature to ask them to repeal Prop 4. This initiative only requires 70,000 signatures, and it would require the legislature to vote on whether or not to repeal Prop 4 during the legislative session. If both of these things are quote-unquote successful and they put a pause on Map C until it goes on the ballot in 2026 and they repeal Prop 4, that puts us in a very odd position. In the midst of the judge also trying to pick a map and the lieutenant governor trying to do her job. God bless her. The lieutenant governor told the Salt Lake Tribune that this initiative and referendum process has introduced an unprecedented level of chaos and confusion, which makes me feel a lot better because I feel a lot of chaos and confusion as well. And the timeline here gets really confusing because the referendum and the initiative both have several legal and procedural steps they have to go through before they can start collecting signatures and get on the ballot and whatever. It's possible that this won't be sorted out until the end of January or the middle of February, which is well after the candidate filing period, which starts on January 2nd and closes on January 8th. So people could be filing to run in a district without knowing what districts there are. But we could go into a position where next year we have no legal congressional maps at all for people to file for. Unprecedented chaos and confusion is correct.
We're sort of in the waiting period right now until the court makes their decision, and there are going to be hearings for the court this week, and we will find out more information. We'll keep you updated on that. But in the meantime, the most important thing that you need to know is to decline to sign. If you are approached by any sort of signature gatherer anywhere, do not sign their petition. Do not do it. Make sure that all your friends and family know not to sign their petition. And if you happen to see any signature gatherers out there, if you could just let us know, feel free to DM us or comment or something, because it would be helpful to know where they are. We are going to have some more things for you this week to help out on this whole process of the decline to sign, so stay tuned for that.